Two is Sky Mistress by Andrew Marwell. In which year was Andrew Marwell born? 1621. Where was Andrew Marwell born? Yorkshire. What was Andrew Marwell's father's profession? Reverend. Which school did Marwell attend before university? Hull. Which college did Marwell attend at Cambridge? Trinity. In which year did Marwell achieve his bachelor degree? 1639. What event caused Marwell to leave university in 1641? Death. How many years did Marwell spend traveling Europe? 5. Which general daughter did Marwell tutor between 1651 and 1653? Lord Fairfax. Which poem of Marwell was published posthumously? Two is Sky Mistress. How old was Mary Fairfax when Marwell tutored her? 13. Which poet did Marwell praise in his poem? Two is Noble Friend. Richard Lovelace. Which political figure is central to Marwell's A Horatian Ode? Oliver Cromwell. Which poet recommended Marwell for government service? John Milton. Who did Marwell tutor in 1653? Dutton. Which government position did Marwell assist Milton with? Secretary. In which year did Marwell become a member of parliament? 1659. Which monarch was restored to the throne in 1660? Charles II. Which friend of Marwell was jailed after the monarchy was restored? John Milton. Which genre dominated Marwell's later works? Satire. What political stance did Marwell take in his later works? Anti-monarchist. Which censorship law restricted Marwell's writing? Restoration. What is the name of the posthumous collection of Marwell's poetry? Miscellaneous Poem. Which literary figure revived interest in Marwell's poetry? T.S. Eliot. Which poem by Marwell remained one of the most studied in English? Two is Sky Mistress. Which subject does metaphysics question? Reality. Who first coined the term metaphysical poetry? Dr. Johnson. In which book did Samuel Johnson write about metaphysical poetry? Lives of Poets. Which century did the metaphysical poets belong to? 17th. Which poet is considered the leader of metaphysical poet? John Donne. Who defined Donne's poetry as reflective and philosophical? Grierson. Which poet wrote religious poetry with deep spiritual themes? George Herbert. Which metaphysical poet was known for his mystical themes? Henry Vaughan. What is the most common characteristic of metaphysical poetry? Wit. What literary device involves mixing ordinary speech with paradoxes? Pun. What type of unusual comparison are found in metaphysical poetry? Conceits. What theme in metaphysical poetry emphasizes living in the present? Carpe diem. Which poet compared lovers to compass? John Donne. What is the tone often found in metaphysical poetry? Humorous. Which device in metaphysical poetry present an apparent contradiction? Paradox. What type of detail is often used to depict mysticism? Sensuous. Which poetic device is used for exaggerated statements? Hyperbole. What does metaphysical poetry often shock the reader into? Awareness. What is a complex and far-fetched metaphor called? Conceit. Which type of poetry is considered highly ambiguous? Metaphysical. Which theme in metaphysical poetry deals with the divine? Religious. Which poet was known for blending logical argument with mysticism? John Donne. In which year was Is Sky Mistress published? 1681. What type of literary work is To Coy Mistress? Poem. What is the genre of the To Coy Mistress? Metaphysical. In which language was To Coy Mistress written? English. What is the meter of the poem To Coy Mistress? Iambic tetrameter. How many syllables are there per line in the poem? 8. What is the rhyme scheme of the poem? AA, BB, CC. How many stanzas are in the poem? 3 stanzas. What is the total number of lines in the second stanza? 12. What is the total number of lines in the third stanza? 14. Who is the speaker addressing in the poem? His mistress. Which tense is the poem written in? Present tense. What does the speaker argue in inevitable death? What type of argument does the poem follow? Logical. What poetic device does the poem primarily use for rhyming? Couplets. How many iambs are there per line in the poem? 4. What does the first stanza focus on? Time. What is the theme of poem related to life? Morality. What is the poetic term for stressed beats? Feet. What does the second stanza highlight? Death. What does the third stanza emphasize? Love. What poetic device is used in Time's Winged Chariot? Metaphor. Which poetic technique is used to persuade the mistress? Carpe diem. Which poetic form structures To His Coy Mistress? Tetrameter. How many main premises does the poem present? 2. Which concept does the mistress symbolize? Coyness. What does the speaker suggest they do before times run out? Consummate. What does the poem suggest they lack? Eternity. What does the poet admonish his mistress for in stanza 1? Coyness. Which river in India is mentioned in the poem? To Coy Mistress. Ganges. Which river in England is referenced? Humber. How many years before the biblical flood would the speaker loved her? 10 years. Which religious group's conversion is mentioned in the first stanza? Jews. What is the metaphor used to describe the speaker's growing love? Empire. How many years does the speaker say he would spend admiring her eyes? 100. What metaphor is used to describe eternity in stanza 2? Desert. Which creature does the speaker say will consume her virginity in death? Worms. What will the speaker's desire turn into in death? Ash. What does the speaker argue is impossible in a grave? Love. What is the dominant emotion in the second stanza? Fear. Which theme does the third stanza highlight? Passion. Which word describe the type of courtship the speaker says they cannot afford? Slow. Which poetic device is used in Through the Iron Gates of Life? Metaphor. What does the speaker say they should swallow whole? Time. What does the speaker claim they cannot stop? Time. What does the speaker say they can make time do? Run. What is the tone of the first stanza? Romantic. What is the tone of second stanza? Somber. What is the tone of third stanza? Persuasive. Identify which is the line expressing a deliberate exaggeration of To His Coy Mistress. 100 years should go to price. What is meant by carpe diem? Seize the day. In the poem To His Coy Mistress, time-winged chariot is an allusion to Apollo. The courtship might continue dash years in the poem To His Coy Mistress. 10 years.